Hi guys, and welcome to this Model Engineers workshop. Today in the workshop, we've spent a lot of time putting holes in the cylinder blocks, and now it's time to start closing a few of them off. Here goes. Hi guys, I'm the chef. Today we're going to start making the front cylinder covers. They're the bits that bung up some of these big holes that we've already put into the cylinder blocks. I've already got the necessary here on the workbench, so come in close and I'll talk you through what I'm going to do. Righto guys, here we go. So this is the left cylinder block. We're going to be making the front cover for this one and for the right cylinder cover, which is just off to the right here on the bench. Just simple turning jobs, lots of holes. We're going to put a lot more holes in here for a bolt circle, and they're not very complicated, but there's a lot of work to them, especially seeing as what you've seen me doing lately has been coming from square stock or round stock or something like this. This used to be round stock. As you can see, this is a quarter of it. This is what I made all the locomotive and the tender brake blocks out of. Again, nice quality cast iron, no problem. So I've just had the local engineering company cut this into quarters for me. It's thick enough to get 2 pieces out of that. So of course, we're going to have some fun holding this in the 4-jaw, although it won't be too bad. 1 jaw here, 1 here, and the other 2 here and here. It'll just kind of hold it nice and steady in the chuck itself. Now, of course, I want to try and get the largest possible circle I can out of here. Eventually, we'll get this down to 69 millimeters, I believe it is. So I've already done a bit of this measuring around, and I reckon we're going to end up with somewhere around about 80 as the maximum circle we're going to get out of this. So I'm just going to very quickly, and I've just lost sight of my square. Where's my square gone, guys? Oh, there it is. Now, where was that scratch mark? So let's try that again, shall we? So it's somewhere about there. This is all very rough. It doesn't, the final dimensions on the front cylinder covers are going to be so far inside this numbering. These numbers and measurements I'm doing now and the centering are going to be, so it doesn't matter a hoot really how accurate or inaccurate this is. So I'm just going to put a center pop in here, so that will give me something to aim for when I'm centering this up in the 4-jaw. So hang on, there we go. Yep, got a center pop there now. That's better. There we go. Nice center pop in there. Could you actually see that? Yeah, you can. It's not even on the lines. It doesn't have to be. So what I'm going to do is put this in the 4-jaw. Probably have to have the jaws reversed. So yeah, that's never fun, because that means eventually the top surface of this, and as we're turning away all these corners, these 3 corners, it's going to be within the jaws of the 4-jaw. So we're going to have to be very careful when we get to that point. And then we're going to have to whip this out the 4-jaw, whip the 4-jaw off, put the 3-jaw back on the lathe, flip this over, and then keep turning. But by then, of course, we've created a reference face. So everything starts squaring up after that. Yep, so something different. We're not just starting with a block of square, which we just got to clean off, or a round where we just put it in the lathe and away we go. Bit of prep work to do first. All right, guys, let's get off to the lathe. I'll get it centered up, and once I've done that, I'll bring you back in. All right, see you in a bit, guys. So we're just going to take some very light cuts. We've got that face to sort out, of course, get it nice and clean, and then we'll just turn this down to about 80 mil, like I said. So, which looks like the highest surface on there is probably this one here. Right, so I'm going to get a rough idea on where touch off is. It'll be somewhere about there. So set a few downs at 0 and we'll take a look when we get there. I'm going to wind well clear, because of course this is a funny shape. Got it hard down against the jaws, hammered it in, tapped it in with the rubber mallet. So we're going to, once we get this down to a full circle, we'll be able to turn it around and mount it in a 3-jaw, and using then the clean face we've got up against the 3-jaw jaws to create a better reference. Right, so again, like before, lots and lots of interference cuts. We're a long way clear. Let's wind that in a bit, otherwise it'll take forever for the power feed to catch that up. Let's have a quick look. Still clear. Right, that was close. Right, there we go. How are we looking? Right, that'll do us. We're still clear. Power's on. All right, guys. Let's do a couple of cuts together. Here goes. Right, well, there's going to be no more to cut at the moment, so let's wind that back out. Put on another cut. There we go. And do again. Here goes. All right, there we go. That's cleaning up nicely. Right, a lot of cuts still to go. Probably got about another 3mm to take off the face of this before I get right down in here. This isn't going to be too far away, but now these cuts in here and here are the deepest. Yep, so I'll pause you there, guys. I'll bring you back. No point you watching any more of this. Righto, guys, so just having to do a little bit of a voiceover here. Not quite sure what happened. I've lost some footage anyway, so that's all that it boils down at the end. As you can see now here, I've got this surface all cleaned off, and now we just need to knock off the 3 corners to end up with a circular piece sticking out so that we can then progress further with these front cylinder covers. All right, the next clip will be coming up right now. See you in a bit. Righto, guys, there we go. So clean face, now starting to create the largest round circular spigot we can. As you can see, just got a tiny little bit more to take off, but I'm now basically, this surface here is within the chock jaws, so I'm not going to go any further. Just going to turn down so we make this fully circular. So yeah, that should take, I don't know, not much actually. So we'll do a couple of cuts and see how far we go. All right, here goes. There we go. Right. Let's see how big that remaining piece is now. Yep, that went down quite a bit. Right, let's do another cut, see how far, see if we can get it gone. I want it just gone. One more. See how we're going. Definitely getting smaller. Only taking light cuts, but we're getting there. Right. Let's have a look at that. We must be getting down, 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 down. Yeah. Oh, you'd hardly know it was there, really, but okay. think we might be there. Indeed we are. Look at that. Lovely. Right. Next job. Take this out the 4-jaw, take the 4-jaw off, put the 3-jaw in, mount it the other way around, so gripping it by that surface. It's nothing critical, so it doesn't matter. We don't need the soft jaws. Make sure you're making sure between the surface of the chuck jaws and here that there is a gap so that we can turn it by this, and then again we just turn away all these corners, but we need a little bit of a gap so that we can actually get into this corner that we've just created. All right, guys, give me a couple of minutes. I'll turn this around and you'll see what I mean. All right, back soon. Righto, guys, so 3-jaw chuck on the lathe again, holding by the spigot we've just turned. Going to be a very big interrupted cut, so we're just going to take away most of this mass first. I do have this tight up against the jaws. As much as I said we need a gap at this moment in time, I'd rather have a bit more to hold on to till we get right down to the very bare minimum. Then it might be just a case of taking a hacksaw to the last few bits and then we can clean up from there. I don't know, we'll see. Just didn't seem to have a lot to hold on to, but I'd rather have a little bit more to hold on to. So let's reach through. There goes the power onto the lathe. We're all pretty much set. I just got to put a cut on that way, and then we're just going to go down, 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 down until we get down to this size of the spigot again. All right. So one last check, as always, just to make sure we're not going to start cutting immediately. Here we go then. Nothing too heavy to start with. Let's just see how it reacts. I think I've got to be a bit closer than that though. Yep, there's a touch off. Let's put on a feed. Move back in close. Activate the power feed. Just keeping an eye on where the jaws are. That will do it. I think I'm getting quite nervous actually by the look of things. I can go further without worrying too much at the moment. Right, okay, that's good to know. Right, so let's put on another cut and see how we go this time. And yes, you can see we're starting to cut. This one's a long way off, of course, because it's, yeah, a long way. And that one's looking good too. Righto, guys, look, I'll get this down and I'll bring you back. See you in a bit. Righto, guys, there you go. Knocked off those 3 corners except for this piece. I didn't want to get too close to the jaws, so that's probably, what, about 5mm thick. That's the next job we're going to do. But as you can see, this part is now a lot wider than that. So I can go back to my original plan of leaving a gap between this and the chuck jaws. So we'll just get this popped out. There we go. Oops, a daisy. Didn't do it any harm. So there we go. You can see this is what I've just been machining, this bit. This piece here. So now I'm going to put it back in the 3-jaw that way around and get rid of these bits. So I don't even think I'll need to put parallels behind it, because I should just be able to let the lathe sort itself out. Yeah. No, I think I'll just get a couple of parallels. Right, okay. So I'll get this done, get this knocked off, and then when we get down to a nice cylindrical chunk of cast iron, I'll bring you back, we'll measure up, and let's see how we can go with these front cylinder covers. All right, guys, back in a bit. Righto guys, so I'm just going to give you a couple of shots of this coming off. The lathe is no longer so out of balance, so I can run this a bit faster as well, which is great. So here goes. There you go, you get the drift. So, lovely finish. Right, I'll bring you back. Righto guys, there we go. That's that nasty piece turned off. And it took a matter of minutes. And there we are. We now have one very nice billet, or whatever you want to call it, chunk of cast iron. The fact is, it's got a step in the middle. Can you see? Can you see the step? Yes, you can. Doesn't matter a hoot. If anything, that might prove useful for chucking up against the front of the chuck jaws, like that. There's just enough there to hold it. Right. Let's get this on the bench, measure it up, and see how far we can get with what we're going to get out of this on the front cylinder covers. All right, guys, give me a second. I'll be back in a tick. Righto, guys, here we go. So that's out the chuck now. Nice big round chunk. So let's see what we've ended up with, shall we? So on the small side, we have 75 points. Can you guys see that as well? Let's call it 75.5. So we got 75.5. On the slightly bigger side, we have 77, well, 77, pretty much square, straight off. 77.0, almost wrote 0.5 there, did you see that? And in the thickness, we have 35.5. 35.5. Okay. 35.5. Right, now, front cylinder covers are all both 8 thick. The rear cylinder covers are 20. Just let me check the drawing, guys. 20. Yes. So 8 plus 20, 28. That gives me 7.5 to play with. So that is actually better than I expected, because I was thinking I'd just get 2 front cylinder covers out of that and then have to do another of the quarter pieces, another 2 of the quarter pieces to make the front cylinder covers, whereas I can actually get, so the left-hand cylinder out of this one, and I can get the right-hand cylinder block out of another, and that saves a bit of material. I mean, we've turned away quite a bit, being the funny shape that it was anyway, so give me a second, guys. I'll be back. Right, guys, I've just double-checked all the drawings again. Yeah, so I can get left-hand cylinder out of that one, and I'll need to just turn down one more for the right cylinder block. So, by the power of videos, and there we go. I've just spent another couple of hours turning another one. You can see this one's slightly different again. You know, what the hell, doesn't matter. Got to get this down to 69. So let's see what we got out of this one. So we got 73.25 at that end, which is great because we're looking for 69. We've got definitely plenty enough at this end, because we are at 78 points. 78.7. Now the critical one here, of course, is again the thickness. And we are at 35 points. I reckon that's probably about 0.8. Yeah. 35.8. Let's just make a note of that. 35.8. And as I say, nothing really critical at the moment. We just have to get enough for both of them out of there. So, there we go. That's absolutely perfect. Right. Okay, so what we're going to do now, get this one back in the lathe. Probably put this one up against parallels, against the chuck jaw again. And we're going to start turning the register that fits that hole. Okay, so that's going to be down to whatever it was, 44. But we're going to be using this as a gauge until it just goes on. And then we need that to be 3 thick. And then we can part off. The whole thing needs to be, what, 8.5. Do the same for this one. So we then have 2 embryos. And then we need to make a split ring to go in the chuck jaws of the lathe that these registers then fit into. And then we can turn the front face, the one that was parted off. And my parting tools don't go that deep. So we're going to have to go as far as we can. And then hacksaw it off and then turn it around and clean it up. Easy peasy, really. Just a bit of elbow grease, that's all. Right, let me get this one back in the chuck. What do I need to do here? I'll tell you what. I'm just going to mark this one as left so we know. And let me mark this one as right. My grotty handwriting. Right, there we go. I know what it reads. Right, back to the lathe. See you in a bit, guys. Right, guys, so back in the lathe. I had a couple of parallels in the back here just so we're nice and we know that that's square to everything else. Jaws tightened down. So what we're going to do is we're going to come in here 12, turn that down to 69. We're then going to make sure that that diameter is correct, and then we're going to start turning 3 mil, 3 and a bit, down to fit the bore of the left-hand front cylinder. Okay, so this is now being cylindrical. We can go a little bit faster. So let's have a look. Let's turn this in. Let's increase the speed a bit, and we'll get this through a bit faster. Right, so we're gonna touch off, and the machine's running, of course, and then we're going to go down 12 mil, and we'll bring this whole thing down from 75.5 down to 69. All right, just line that clear. Right, here guys, we'll do the touch off and a cut, and then I'll bring it back when I get it down to size. That's deep enough. Oh, wow, lovely finish. My goodness, I'll say. Right, right. You saw what I was doing. I'll get this down to 69, and then I'll bring you back. All right, guys. See you in a bit. Righto, guys. There we are. Down to 69. Didn't take long. So what I'm now going to do is I'm just going to start coming in 3.5 mil, 3 point, just over 3, and get that down. That register down to fit the bore in the cylinder block. You see that? Yeah, which is 44 something off the top of my head. Don't need to know what it is. All I need to know is that that register fits that hole. All right, guys. So let's do a couple of cuts together, and then I'll bring you back when I get it down to almost a size, I suppose, and we'll make the final cuts together. So here goes. just over 3 mil. There we go, guys, easy as that. Now, so this was 69, we know that. Got to get that down to 44, which is what, 54, about 25 mil off it. Right, that's going to be boring for you. Just be a few minutes work for me. All right, guys, I'll bring you back when I'm closer. Righto, guys, so there we are. We're down at the moment to 44.65, which is very close to where we need to be. So we'll do this in real time. So I'm just going to take the lightest of cuts now until such time as we can get the cylinder block to fit. All right, here goes. Let's just wind that up a bit. Right, let's take another little cut and we'll see how we're going. Move the saddle back. That should get us down to about 44.55 maybe 45.6. Not that that is critical at the moment. 45.655. Right, okay, I was right. Right. Now, left cylinder block, as you can see, left. So this is the face that points backwards. We're doing the front cylinder covers. Now, I'm sorry, guys, you won't be able to see much of this. She's on. Look at that. Yes, indeed, she's on. Well, that's a stroke of luck. Okay. Right. Serious? She is. She's on. Right. Well, that was easier than I thought. Okay, guys. So now that register's cut, I'm just going to check the depth because we have to have 3 mil. So we'll check that. It might be a little bit short on this, which was my intention from the beginning. Let me just get this right. There we go. We are at. Yep. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to take a clean up cut on this on the face of this register, re-measure, and then we'll get the depth right. So we're very close because all I want to do is literally go in into that corner and take the lightest of cut and just come out and take a clean up cut on that face. All right, so we're going to just literally take some dust off the face of here now, hopefully. Shouldn't be much. Right, line clear, put on a cut, literally a very light cut. I want to take off as little as possible. So here goes. There we go. Nice clean up face, lovely surface. Let's just have another quick measure. Too far. Right, let's try that again. There we go. Lock down the verniers. We are at 3.1. No, less than 3.05. Right. So what I'm going to do, I'm literally just going to wind in till I get that tool right in that corner. which is where it's at now. Don't wind that clear. So I'm going to wind in, put on a very light feed, and then move the tool backwards this way towards me, so we can just do a cleanup cut on that face. So here goes. Here's touch off. Put on not a lot, and wind out. Nice and steady. There we have it. There we have it. We've got nice clean faces everywhere now. So what's left to do? Got to put a little chamfer on there, a little chamfer on here. Set up the parting tool. As I say, the parting tool, the biggest one I've got anyway. Get rid of all that dust. Is this one. Clean off that. As you can see, that only goes about 20 mil deep. So I've got to get this on here. I've just got to set everything up square. And then come in from this corner, the thickness we need, which is 5, plus a little bit for a cleanup, so say 5.5. The tool tip itself is 2.5, 5.5, 2.5 is 8. Hopefully I've left enough meat here so that we can literally just go straight in at this joint here. Right, give me a couple of minutes to set up, guys, and we'll get this parted off. Give me a tick, hang on. Righto guys, so I've just taken a tiny little file with a handle on it, take that edge off there, taking that edge off there. Change the tool, set it square across the lathe, and what we're going to do now is I've touched off against this face and moved it back, including the depth of the thickness of the cutter. So we're back at 8 mil, so that leaves me 2.5 for the cutter, that leaves me 5.5, so that means when we turn this around, I've got 0.5 mil to clean off that face, to get nice and everything even and clean, and then we can put some more details into it. Right, so let's have a think. I need to slow down the crossfeed because we're going to be, there we go, and we'll just test that. But eventually we're going to go as deep as we can, and then we're going to put a hacksaw in there and just cut this thing off. All right, here goes. I'm just going to test the speed of the crossfeed first. Yeah. That might be a little fast. What are we actually on? We're on an E2. Yeah, let's go to a B5. It's a little. That was a little fast, I think. I know we're in it, and I want to be careful. There's a B, and we need a 5. Because of course I can't go. I've got to go full depth on the tool. There we go. Let's try that one this time. And I really want to be careful on this. So here goes. Hang on. Let's just test that speed again. Oh yeah, that's better. It'll take a while, but it'll get us there. So let's get in contact. Just drop the power feed and we'll just keep my hand on it just in case it doesn't like it. But here goes. Engaged. So far so good. Try and keep the chips clear. Like a waterfall of cast iron chips. Chips are clearing nicely. Getting down. Yep. Chips are still coming out. Just got to keep an eye on that. Probably about half the depth we can go at the moment. Doing this real time just so that you can see it. Still got about 6 or 7 mil to go. Chips are still clearing nicely. Yep, going very nicely actually. Probably down to about 4 mil now. Just taking the time. Keep these chips clearing so I can see what's going on. Probably 2 at the moment. Very, very close now. And that is where I chicken out. There we go. Whew. Right, let's get that tool out of the way. Back on the shelf where it belongs in its whole special place. There we go. Right, now we can move the saddle out of the way. We can grab a hacksaw and we can cut through there now. Yeah, I don't think you really need to see that, do you? Alright guys, back in a tick. Alrighty guys, there we go. You can see hacksaw that off. Parting tools left at a lovely finish, although that's not necessary, as that's all going to be parted off. We've got to get this down to 5 mil. This moment in time we're at about literally 5.5. Can you see that? The focus. We're at 5.5 anyway. And more importantly, that just fits nicely in that. And with this chunk that's left, you can see the hacksaw marks on there, can't you? Plenty of them. I've got 24 and a half, 24, something like 24 and a half, almost 24 and a half. That'll make the front cylinder cover, the left cylinder. Right, let's get off with this and this to the lathe and knock out another one. All right, back in a bit. Righto guys, so there we go. That's the right hand one done there. I've labelled them because they are slightly different in size, but okay. That's the way it goes. So, 2 embryonic front cylinder covers. Lovely. Now, this video's already turned into about 40 minutes, I would imagine. So, I'm going to split this into 2. In the next one, we'll make a split ring to hold those in the chuck. Got a nice chunk of material here to do that with. No problems. And then we've got lots of holes to drill through these, and then of course put them into this one as well, into the cylinder as well. It's drilling and tapping again. All right, so give me a couple of minutes guys, I'll reset and we'll bring this video to a close. Righto guys, there we go. 2 embryonic front cylinder covers. It's amazing how you think a small job shouldn't take too long, but they do. There's a few hours work in this already. Okay, so in the next one, we'll get these finished and hopefully bolted onto the cylinder so we can have a look what they look like. All right, guys, so I'll bring this video to a close like I normally do. If you can find it in your heart and soul to give this video a like and a subscribe, maybe they all count. The likes count for more because it puts the video in front of more like-minded people like you and I. So it's the likes. But if you've got this far, think about giving me a subscribe. That would be really great. It's the motivation I need to get back out here into the workshop, which is bloody cold today. Alrighty, guys. So this is the chef saying, see you later.